I think most people in the arts world were probably quite surprised when they discovered that my job immediately prior to coming to Arts Victoria was to be a partner in a chartered accounting firm. And I was a partner in the consulting division of quite a large firm here in Melbourne. And I suspect they thought, what was the Secretary of the Department doing, and indeed the then Minister doing, agreeing to, this chartered accountant who had no experience of working in the arts at all, in appointing, me to this job. So I think it probably is quite an unusual background for someone coming into this position. Interestingly, the previous directors of Arts Victoria, of which there have been 4, one of them did come from a corporate background. He's actually the one who was in this job the longest, whereas the others did come from arts backgrounds. One was a gallery director, one started life as a potter, and the other one came from the visual arts world. I'm absolutely convinced that if I'd been alive in the early 20th century, that I would have been a rampant suffragette. I'm absolutely certain that I would have been there with the Pankhursts fighting for women's votes and all those rights that women didn't have at that time. And it's still, even though I'm a great beneficiary of all of those reforms that have happened, I'm still surprised, if I may say, in this context, that there are many women who are younger than me who seem, because they've lived their lives always having had these rights and been the beneficiaries of these reforms, that it's almost as if some of the younger generation of women have not remembered that it was only a generation or two ago that some of these rights were still being fought for. I think there's some really important things about going for job interviews. But they are sort of obvious in a way. One is about preparation, knowing the organisation that you're going to meet, looking at their website, looking at their annual report, understanding what they think they're trying to achieve. Listening to questions is very important. What are the hidden messages in questions? What might they really be trying to get at? And I also think it's very important to have a few key points and messages that you want to get across. And if the questions don't directly lead you to those points that you want to make, then you have to find a way to make that happen, when you get the opportunity to speak. So I think it's, it's those sorts of things that are very important in interviews. Oh, well, I love all sorts of music. My mum was a piano teacher, and so I was brought up on music from a very early age, and I think I could actually read music before I could read words. But when it comes to humming, which I'll take as singing as well, I actually love church music, and I love singing along to hymns. I love singing along to extracts from oratorios and the sort of anthems that get sung at evensong, and some bits of opera, and all that sort of stuff is the sort of stuff that I just love singing along to. So if Beethoven's Ninth is on the radio, or the Monteverdi Vespers, or a bit of Messiah, or a hymn that I know, then I'm off with it. I think there are a number of challenges for the arts, and I'm not sure that any of them are new. I just think that there are perspectives on them at the moment that are new. So one of the most important things is about connection with audiences and connection with the community. And by connection, I don't mean simply trying to sell a ticket. I mean real engagement that happens in both directions and is, to coin a management phrase, mutually beneficial. That the artist gets something out of it, gets recognition, acknowledgement, inspiration, and that the audience the member gets some enjoyment and inspiration out of the experience. So I think the way we connect with audiences and with the community is changing, and that's something that the arts community is embracing and needs to be very focused on. I think the second area is obviously to do with resources. The sector is quite generously supported in Australia. Australian governments of both political persuasions and all three levels of government, really, certainly in Victoria, have been quite generous to the arts sector. The arts community needs to be better at generating resources from channels other than government, and it's working on that. There's a lot of emphasis on philanthropy, a lot of emphasis on sponsorship, and a lot of emphasis on box office as well. All of those things are very important for the future, and I guess again that's about the two-way mutually beneficial thing. It's not. It cannot just be about expecting a company or a philanthropist or a private donor simply to hand over. They have some expectations as well, but I think again the arts community is getting better at this. But these are very important challenges for the next few years.